Imagine waking up every morning with a vision, a goal, a purpose. You start the day strong. But by the afternoon, distractions creep in, motivation fades, and suddenly you're back to old habits. Sound familiar? If so, you're not alone. The truth is, success isn't about getting started, it's about staying consistent. So today I want to share 5 powerful ways to ensure you stick with your daily goals, not just for a day, a week, or a month, but for the long haul. Too often we chase goals that feel imposed upon us by society, expectations, or fleeting desires. We commit to diets because we think we should. We set financial targets because they sound impressive. We make New Year's resolutions with excitement, only to abandon them by February. But why? Because without a deeply personal reason, our efforts become unsustainable. Motivation is fleeting, discipline wavers, but purpose is unwavering. Consider Sarah. For years she struggled with exercise. She tried, she failed, she tried again. Each time, she convinced herself this time would be different. But the excuses always won. It wasn't that she lacked the ability. It wasn't that she didn't want to be healthier. It was that she had no deep reason to keep going. Then came the wake-up call. A routine checkup turned into a life-altering conversation. Her doctor looked her in the eye and said, "Sarah, you have early signs of heart disease." In an instant, everything changed. Fear gripped her, but so did clarity. This wasn't just about fitting into an old pair of jeans, it was about being there to watch her children grow up. This was about walking her daughter down the aisle, about chasing her son through the park, about being present for every milestone. Suddenly her workouts weren't a chore. They were a commitment to the life she wanted. Her why was no longer about weight loss. It was about love, about life, about legacy. So many of us set goals without asking the most important question: why does this matter? We focus on what we want, sometimes even how we'll get there. But rarely do we dig deep enough to uncover the real driving force. Without a compelling why, obstacles feel insurmountable. The moment discomfort arises, we falter. But when your reason is clear, when it grips your heart so tightly that failure is not an option, you'll push through. You'll find energy when you're exhausted. You'll say no to distractions because your mission is too important. You'll become unstoppable. Think about the times in your life when you truly committed to something. Maybe it was building a career, protecting your family, overcoming a personal struggle. What made you persist even when everything felt impossible? It wasn't willpower alone. It wasn't a momentary burst of inspiration. It was something deeper. It was the belief that what you were fighting for mattered beyond measure. Now imagine channeling that same intensity into your goals. Imagine aligning your actions with a purpose so strong that nothing, not fear, not doubt, not difficulty could shake you. That is the difference between wishing for something and achieving it. That is the power of why. So ask yourself, what is my why? Not the surface-level answer, but the real, gut-wrenching, non-negotiable truth. Because when you find it, you won't need motivation. You won't need external validation. You will have something far greater. You will have a reason to keep going, no matter what stands in your way. Big dreams ignite our souls. They stir something deep within us, calling us to action, to greatness. But for many, that same fire can feel paralyzed. The mountain ahead seems too vast. The gap between where we are and where we want to be feels insurmountable. We tell ourselves we need the perfect plan, the perfect timing, the perfect conditions, until eventually we do nothing at all. But what if the secret to success isn't in the big grand gestures, but in the tiniest of steps? What if the key to transformation isn't found in overwhelming ambition, but in making success so small, so ridiculously easy, that failure isn't even an option? Consider the man who wanted to change his life by getting in shape. He didn't set out to become a fitness guru overnight. He didn't promise himself 2-hour workouts, strict diets, or the latest fitness trends. He made one simple commitment: to show up at the gym for 5 minutes. That's it, 5 minutes. The goal wasn't to lift weights, run marathons, or burn calories. The goal was simply to show up, and something remarkable happened. Once he was there, 5 minutes naturally turned into 10, then 20. Over time, what seemed insignificant became life-changing. This is the power of small. When we make our steps so tiny that failure isn't even a possibility, we remove the barriers that keep us stuck. We take action. And action, no matter how small, builds momentum. Want to read more books? Don't commit to an hour a day. Just read 1 page. Want to meditate? Don't start with 30 minutes. Just sit for 30 seconds. Want to write a book? Write a single sentence. These actions seem laughably small, insignificant, but they're not. They are the seeds of transformation. Because in taking that first tiny step, we prove to ourselves that we are capable of action. And when we act, we begin to shift our identity. We stop being someone who wants to read. We stop being someone who wants to be healthy and become someone who exercises. The shift happens not in the grand resolutions, but in the microscopic moments of consistency. Too often we overestimate what we need to start and underestimate the power of consistency. We convince ourselves that success requires intensity, when in reality it requires persistence. The person who takes a single step every day will always surpass the one who sprints for a week and then stops. Because success isn't about giant leaps, it's about never stopping. So make it small. Make it so easy, so absurdly simple that success is guaranteed. And when you prove to yourself that you can take that step, take another, then another, and watch as those tiny, seemingly insignificant moments begin to build something extraordinary. Start today. Start now. Just take one small step. Willpower is unreliable. We know this because we've all experienced the moment when sheer determination crumbles under pressure. The moment when we say, just this once, and suddenly, one slip turns into a pattern. Willpower alone is a fragile foundation, and yet so many of us rely on it as if it were unshakable. But what if we stopped expecting ourselves to be superhuman, and instead designed our lives to support the outcomes we truly want? What if instead of fighting against ourselves, we worked with ourselves? Imagine you want to eat healthier. You start the week with the best of intentions, telling yourself you'll make good choices. But after a long, exhausting day, you walk into your kitchen, and there it is, an open bag of chips, a quick and easy snack that requires zero effort. In that moment, your tired mind chooses convenience over commitment. You don't lack discipline. You're simply fighting against a system that makes failure easier than success. Now picture a different scenario. You walk into that same kitchen, but this time the chips aren't there. Instead, there's a bowl of fresh fruit, pre-cut vegetables, a prepared meal that's ready to go. Without even thinking, you reach for what's available. That's the power of a system. It turns success into the path of least resistance. Systems remove friction. They take decision-making out of the equation, allowing you to focus on execution rather than temptation. Think about the most successful people you know. They aren't relying on bursts of motivation to achieve their goals. They've created structures that make their desired actions automatic. A runner doesn't wake up every morning and debate whether they feel like training. They lay out their running shoes the night before. They have a plan. They've made the decision ahead of time. What systems can you put in place to make your goals inevitable? If you want to read more, place a book on your pillow, so it's the last thing you see before bed. If you want to save money, set up automatic transfers to your savings account. If you want to wake up early, set your alarm across the room so you have to get out of bed to turn it off. These aren't small changes. They are the foundation of real, lasting success. We often think success comes from intense moments of discipline, from heroic feats of willpower. But in reality, success is built quietly, through habits, routines, and the environment we create around ourselves. The people who achieve the most don't have stronger willpower than the rest of us. They have stronger systems. So let's stop trying to outwork our own humanity. Let's stop relying on an energy source that inevitably runs out. Instead, let's design our lives in a way that makes the right decisions automatic. Build a system and watch how much easier it becomes to show up as the person you want to be every single day. What gets measured gets managed. Progress isn't always obvious in the moment, but when you track it, you see how far you've come, and that fuels momentum. Think about the times in your life when you felt stuck, when it seemed like no matter how hard you worked, you weren't getting anywhere. That feeling isn't a reflection of your effort, it's a reflection of perspective. Without tracking, we are blind to our own progress, and blindness leads to doubt. But when we make our progress visible, we create undeniable proof that we are moving forward. And that proof fuels belief. Jerry Seinfeld, one of the most successful comedians of all time, understood this better than most. His strategy wasn't about sudden bursts of inspiration or waiting for the perfect moment to write. It was about relentless consistency. Every day he wrote a joke, he put an X on a calendar, his goal. Don't break the chain. The longer the streak, the harder it was to quit. He created a system that turned progress into something tangible, something undeniable, and that's the secret. When you can see your own progress, you are far less likely to give up. We often overestimate what we can achieve in a day and underestimate what we can accomplish in a year. And because of that, when results don't show up immediately, we question whether our efforts matter. But success is rarely an overnight event. It's the result of small, consistent actions repeated over time. It's the daily practice, the invisible hours, the commitment to showing up even when motivation is nowhere to be found. And when we track our progress, those small actions don't feel so small anymore. They become part of a much larger story, one in which we are the authors. Think about an athlete training for a marathon. If they only focused on race day, they might feel overwhelmed. The finish line would seem impossibly far away. But when they track their runs, when they log each mile, suddenly they have proof that they are becoming stronger. Each entry, each step recorded, builds a sense of momentum that carries them forward. It's not just about running, it's about seeing tangible evidence that they are becoming the kind of person who can finish a marathon. The transformation is already happening, they just need to see it. Tracking isn't just about measuring success, it's about reinforcing identity. When you track your progress, you aren't just marking accomplishments, you are shaping your self-image. A person who writes every day becomes a writer. A person who exercises every morning becomes an athlete. A person who chooses to learn daily becomes a lifelong student. Tracking doesn't just reflect what you've done, it defines who you are becoming. So find a way to track your progress. Use a journal, an app, a whiteboard, or a simple checklist. It doesn't matter how you do it. What matters is that you can see. Because when you can see proof of your own commitment, it will push you forward even on the days you don't feel like showing up. And those are the days that matter most. Perfection is a myth. It's an illusion we chase, a mirage in the desert that always seems just out of reach. The truth is, no one is perfect, and no one has ever been. Not the greatest leaders, not the most accomplished athletes, not the most successful entrepreneurs. Every single person you admire, every role model you look up to, has stumbled. They've fallen short. They've made mistakes. And yet, they kept moving. They kept adjusting. They kept striving towards something greater. Imagine a plane flying from New York to Los Angeles. The path is never a straight line. In fact, that plane is off course. Crosswinds push it left, turbulence shakes it off track, and minor miscalculations require endless adjustments. But does the pilot throw up their hands and say, well, we've drifted a little, let's just land in Kansas and call it a day? No. The system makes constant tiny corrections. A degree here, a small turn there. And in the end, the plane lands exactly where it was meant to. Your journey is no different. We all start with an intention, a goal, a vision of who we want to be, what we want to accomplish, where we want to go. But along the way, things happen. We make a commitment to wake up early and work on our dreams, and then we hit snooze. We promise ourselves to eat better, and then we give in to convenience. We set a goal to write, to create, to move forward, and then life throws something unexpected our way. It's in these moments that we have a choice. We can let a single mistake spiral into a pattern. We can let one missed workout turn into a month of inactivity. We can let one slip in our discipline become an excuse to give up entirely. Or we can we can acknowledge the moment, learn from it, and move on. The only way you truly fail is if you quit. If you decide that because you made one mistake, the entire effort was worth it. But think about it. If an artist stopped painting the first time they got a brushstroke wrong, the world would be empty of masterpieces. If a musician quit playing the first time they hit a wrong note, symphonies would never exist. Progress is not about never making mistakes. It's about what you do after the mistake. It's about the course corrections. It's about the willingness to keep going. There's something powerful about self-compassion. The ability to say, I messed up, and that's okay. The ability to understand that growth is not linear. It's messy. It's full of setbacks. It's full of challenges. And yet the ones who make it to the other side, the ones who reach their full potential, are the ones who refuse to let a bad day define their journey. Think about the people who inspire you, the ones who have built something meaningful. Do you think they never had moments of doubt? Do you think they never had days where they felt like giving up? Of course they did. But what separates them is their resilience, their ability to forgive themselves and keep going, their understanding that setbacks are not roadblocks, but detours guiding them in the right direction. You are no different. You have the ability to keep going. You have the ability to get back on track. The key is to not let guilt weigh you down. Guilt is like an anchor. If you hold onto it, you stay stuck. But if you release it, you free yourself to move forward. Forgiving yourself doesn't mean you don't hold yourself accountable. It means you acknowledge your humanity. It means you understand that perfection was never the goal. Growth was. So the next time you stumble, remember the plane. Remember that small corrections, not drastic overhauls, are what get us to our destination. One missed day doesn't mean failure.